To understand conformity, we have to go back to our evolutionary wiring. Humans are social creatures. For most of history, survival depended not on individual brilliance but on collective cohesion. In prehistoric tribes, to stand too far outside the group was dangerous. It could mean exile, vulnerability, even death. Belonging was safety. Agreement was survival. This ancient need didn't vanish with the rise of civilization. It simply evolved. The tribe became the village became the nation, and the nation became modern society. Yet the primal instinct remains, to fit in, to belong, to mirror those around us. Conformity is not just social pressure, it is the ancient whisper in our nervous system telling us that deviation equals danger. But here lies the paradox. While conformity ensured survival, it also breeds limitation. It keeps people aligned, but it can just as easily suppress individuality, creativity, and truth. Psychologists have spent decades studying this phenomenon, and the results are striking. The famous Ask Conformity experiments of the 1950s revealed just how far people will go to avoid standing out. In the experiment, participants were asked to match the length of a line to one of 3 comparison lines. The answer was obvious. Yet when Confederates in the group deliberately gave the wrong answer, most participants conformed, even when their eyes told them otherwise. This shows that people often prioritize social harmony over personal accuracy. Our brains are wired with what psychologists call normative social influence, the desire to be liked and accepted, and informational social influence, the belief that the group must know better than we do. Neuroscience even shows that when we conform, the brain's reward centers light up, as if belonging is a form of pleasure. Conversely, resisting conformity can activate the brain's pain circuits. Rejection is processed not just as an emotional blow, but as a physical one. History is littered with the wreckage of conformity gone too far. Consider Nazi Germany, where ordinary people carried out unspeakable atrocities, not because they were inherently monstrous, but because they conformed to the system, to authority, to group ideology. The psychologist Stanley Milgram demonstrated this same principle in his obedience experiments, where participants delivered what they believed were painful electric shocks simply because an authority figure told them to. Conformity also thrives in less extreme but equally powerful ways in modern life. In classrooms, students suppress curiosity to avoid looking foolish. In workplaces, employees nod along with bad decisions to keep their jobs. On social media, people adopt trending opinions, not because they deeply believe them, but because they don't want to be ostracized. Even fashion trends, slang, and cultural norms reflect the pull of conformity. The brands we wear, the way we speak, the entertainment we consume, it's rarely just personal choice. It's deeply tied to the fear of exclusion. Conformity isn't entirely negative. Societies cannot function without some level of it. Laws, manners, shared values, these all rely on collective agreement. A world without conformity would be chaos. But the dark side lies in its ability to silence truth, creativity, and morality. Galileo was condemned for challenging the consensus of his time. Whistleblowers are often punished, not because they are wrong, but because they disturb the collective comfort. Conformity protects order, but at its extremes, it becomes a prison. It creates individuals who do not think, but simply echo. And the most dangerous societies are not those led by tyrants alone, but those where ordinary people conform to tyranny without resistance. The question then becomes, how do we resist conformity without isolating ourselves entirely? It begins with awareness. Knowing the invisible pull of the group is already a form of armor. When you catch yourself agreeing too quickly, ask, do I truly believe this, or am I avoiding disapproval? Second, learn to tolerate discomfort. Resisting conformity often feels like rejection, but the greatest thinkers and revolutionaries endured this pain to hold on to truth. Third, practice controlled conformity. You don't need to reject every social norm to be free. Instead, choose consciously where to blend in and where to stand apart. True power lies in selective resistance, the ability to walk with the crowd when it suits you, but also to step away when it compromises who you are. The psychology of conformity reveals something deeply human. We want to belong, we fear rejection, and we crave safety in numbers. Yet the same force that kept our ancestors alive is the very one that can suffocate individuality and morality today. Conformity is both a shield and a cage. To master it, one must walk the line between belonging and authenticity. History remembers not the millions who went along, but the few who dared to stand apart. And perhaps the lesson is this: true freedom is not found in rejecting society, but in refusing to let it dictate who you are.